2 maps left. I guess all that is left is to see who is going to do it. We've got game number 5 underway.
Woo! Here we go, map number 5, and this is gonna be a doozy. Hopefully, actually, a doozy for FaZe doozy. Swagg needs a big one here in order to move up the leaderboard tip. I'm excited about it. The last 2 games is where things start to get crazy. If you're down at the bottom of the leaderboard, all you have to do is get top 25 for an opportunity to make it to stage 2 without having to qualify. That is a huge note. Top 25. We're keeping eyes out on those bubble teams all day today, as well as our top of the leaderboard. I'm excited to see these teams slay out. TBE, we thought they'd still be at the top. The big banger map puts Huskerrs on Rationals coming at the top. Will they be able to carry forward that momentum? Tim, I had to give just a brief little monologue about this trio, and I will keep it very brief because most people don't care, but some of you at home probably started watching Warzone pretty quickly. I'll get to that story when we have them back on screen, because all of a sudden there's some crazy action, and guess who it is? Timmy 2K is runaway statues. Danny Drops in trouble fighting for their lives.
Danny Drops about to get dropped and sent to the gulag. Can he stay alive? Just trying to mounting up in the stairway, bro, but you're about to get stacked on. Can you do enough damage? But no, they didn't double push. Sometimes you gotta swing it as a team, but you were able to get some shots off, but now you turn your back. My guy, look behind you. Set up shop. They are just inches away, and yeah, you're gonna try to fly into the water and become the shark that you want to be, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. So let's check in with TBE.
Yeah, TBE, look who they're fighting. Top team versus the second place team, and it looks like the team at the very top of the leaderboard is getting better of one. Huskerrs, Unrational, Scummin versus TBE, and I don't think they're going to be able to get out of this fight. I think this is kind of a winner-takes-all scenario, sending one of these squads to the gulag. This is a very tough position to abscond from unless you can kind of bait away and sacrifice one of your players. Sometimes some of these players are kind of making sacrificial plays to make sure their teammates stay alive and they're not all sent to the gulag early. This is a very tough fight for Tommy and Almond.
That's definitely something they might have learned from watching the reality TV show Survivor. Sometimes you've got to send a sacrificial lamb to slaughter so you can move on to the merge. Am I
Facts.
right?
Big facts. Again, we're going to get an eyes on this perspective and see who can actually take the fight to the other. Almond playing very, very slow, as he should. They are down a man currently. It looks like Noobs is potentially flying back in and might be able to at least get some sort of overhead perspective. Of course, with this brand new Godcaster, we get to see the overhead perspective. The players don't know it yet, and they are just ratting through the building trying to find each other. Almond's been spotted. Probably try to reassess and push to a different angle. Almond is fantastic at playing his life, and he's doing exactly that. They're actually able to get out with Scummin and Rational and Huskerrs letting high ground go. Almond's gonna take it, and flawlessly executed thus far to not have a full team wipe already.
Oh yeah, but here comes the ladder play. They just went up the stairs. They're not gonna be smart. Swing it, and there goes the down and the full. That revive pistol not going to help them. Noobs comes back in, tries to hit the loadout and sees what he can do, but at this point, not smart. Noobs gets dropped again. So Huskerrs, Unrational, Scummin clearly feeling the momentum after that game 4 victory, because it was the most dominating performance that we've witnessed thus far.
Yeah, Tim, they had momentum, then you kill the team that's hot on your heels on the leaderboard off rip. Talk about as much, you have as much wind in your sails as possible. You got 40-mile-an-hour winds behind you. You are cruising through the seas right now at whatever nautical rate that would be. But we're going to swing to the gulag. This is a crucial win here by Almond if he can get it, but he's fighting Zspit, another team at the top, and this might be one of the hardest 1v1s we'll see all day today. Both of these two players great at playing their lives, also some top slayers on their teams. Flag is out.
Ooh, gotta push the issue. Zspit peeks, but Almond runs behind. This flag can be capped in a matter of a second. It doesn't matter because Zspit takes the dub via elimination. Now, I spoke to Zspit just a couple of days ago, and we were chatting about, what are the vibes like right now? Because it's tough, right? Was once at the upper echelon, winning 2v2 25k tournaments left and right, and he said he feels like he's back at square one, needing to prove himself all over again. But team captain Ebates, when I was chatting with him, he was like, no, I'm so glad to play with Z-Smith. Dude is in form. He has not lost any bit of skill. And honestly, playing with DJ Moss and Ebates, he feels that Z-Smith can kind of be more of himself. He doesn't have to prove anyone wrong, even if Z-Smith feels that himself, because they're a unit together.
That's a great call out. Z-Smith is a fantastic third to pick up, but it doesn't feel like he's a third to that duo. It's a great call out. We'll keep watching that team. The old guard versus the new guard at the top of our leaderboard. It's actually insane to take a peek at. Huskerrs, Unrational, Scummin, Aydan, and Rated. Of course, with Adrian, you've got Tommy, Alvin, and Noobs, and then right behind them is Hisoka's squad, Ebates' squad, IQ's squad. Some of these kind of newer names to the top, at least in the public's eye. Such a fun tournament thus far, and we've still got this map, and of course one more after it. You know, last year I think we played 5 maps and then a solo YOLO, so this time 6 maps requires a bit more consistency. And speaking of a team that has some consistency but needs a bit more eliminations to add to that consistency, Shade is Step, OP, Marked, and Yeet, the positional strategists, if you will. We're always talking about this team's ability to win games. Haven't won one yet in customs, and haven't had a ton of eliminations either.
Flipping through a couple different POVs, we saw that at least TBE is still alive, but not for long, as Aydan drops him like it was nothing, taking minimal damage. That's going to be a full now. Doesn't say full team wipe, because you can see Almond and Noobs are still alive, but once you get in that kind of regain blender, it's not a fun environment. It can really chalk your momentum, because if you're consistently trying to regain in some of the toughest lobbies that we've seen thus far in competitive Warzone 2, it's tough. But you do have that revive pistol. You were able to pick up some utility, so you can kind of utilize UAVs to find a safe buy station, and that just sounds crazy to even say.
Yeah, it's wild, but this is actually kind of what the start looked like for Unrational's team's last map. So you never can count out TBE. We'll tune back into them shortly once they've stabilized, I'm sure. Let's take a look at this fight. Double push through TD De Niro. A fantastic Slayer atop. Slayer in the pass. Not going to get better of one. Will Juju do it? Finds one and cleans it up, but Eno is there to save the day. Now, it's not all she wrote. We've got some gulags to write home about. We got Locksteel still up somewhere, but that's one of those other squads still near the top, doing fantastic today. Going into the last couple maps, they could make a power move and breach inside the top 5. Likely going to be qualifying, but talking about bubble teams, Tiff, this is one of my favorites. This squad has had a tough day today. They need a big map here from Fro, Nico, and Desmond. They were the top team out of quals, and it was mostly because of one map at the end. It was a 60-point map. Now's the time. We got to drop that 60-point map now.
Yeah, and I reached out and I was like, hey, you guys, obviously you won the NA quals. I know you're confident going in, but is there anything that you wanted to work on moving into this, knowing you're facing up against the invited teams for the first time? And Nico was like, yo, we just want to focus on our comms and end game rotations going into finals, since he knows that a lot of the teams are going to be making little to no mistakes.
That's a great call. These are the top Warzone players in the game, right? And playing against with the invited players, the teams that prove themselves. I think it was Tilapia when I was talking to him that said it. Everyone's fantastic. You got to have flawless communication as a team in order to find success, and that's exactly what we've seen. But sometimes you got to make those hero 1v3 plays as well that Unrational was able to do. Speaking of that team, our top 3 teams are fighting each other a lot, Tiff. I mean, Aydan's now hunting down Scummin after wiping Tommy, and we saw, of course, Huskerrs and Unrational and Scummin, take out Tommy's team earlier. This is non-stop action. Top teams fighting each other. This is best case scenario for anybody not in the top 3, to be honest. They're all fighting each other. They're all weakening each other, which means there's no way all 3 of these top 3 teams have a good game.
Yeah, Adrian able to grab a knock on to Scummin. Unrational, though, looks like he potentially won a gulag, meanwhile, against Invicta. Shout out to her. She's a really solid content creator that puts a lot into this game. She does a lot of community events and plays with the viewers all the time, so huge dub to see her here competing today. I think she's got a couple Florida Mutineers content creators on her squad as well, but Huskerrs and Unrational, they're not shy of that 2 situation. If they are down a man, they will go on the regain.
I'm looking at our top 25, and currently 25th is Royalize's squad with Brawlic 26, Braxton 27, Nick Cool 28. Teams just inside Hollywood, Nate Dogg. Those are the teams to watch on the bubble. We're still looking for those stage 2 final spots. You would love to not have to re-earn your way back into this tournament. Let's take a look at who's alive. Oh no, Crowder, Iceman, Isaac, my boys, we're struggling today. It is what it is. They came for a lot of fun, and hopefully they can regain going into the last map.
Nothing is given here in the World Series of Warzone. Everything must be earned. And Braxton, this team has been up against the gauntlet. So many things may start to feel like it is completely stacked against you, but this is your time to put that adversity aside and stand up. And speaking of stand up, my man's trying to get that self-res off. Can you do it?
Able to do it. Smokes everything when it comes to the World Series of Warzone, everything when it comes to ranked. You all know it at home, and we know it here in the booth. Keep an eye on that squad. Another one of our bubble teams, all looking for a place in the stage 2 finals. Huskerrs Unrational playing their lives well as per the usual. They've lost come in, I believe, to potentially, I think it was Adrian or whoever it was on the other side, and now it's a matter of where's the next buy. Okay, here's Dongi back on our screen, and guess who they're fighting? Another team at the top. IQ, Arrays, Ryda, a little bit in trouble. They want the close range encounters. Remember that KV broadside is the key to Ryda's success. Certainly would love to use that shotgun close range. You're gonna win 9 times out of 10.
Might have to take a note from his playbook and drop into ranked. And speaking of drop shifty triple S, they're fighting a completely other team as Hisoka picking up some kills on Brittany Reigns' squad, but that opens you up to the third party. And something that we have to talk about is how our teams are looking for the best smart engagements, and a third party can be that for you. And Arrays, IQ, Ryda, they have been doing the most 3Ps that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I gotta say, Vonbot squad, a little bit of fall from grace like we were talking about before. They had such a strong start to this tournament, and they're at risk of falling outside the top 10. Will they qualify? Likely, but they need another solid game to solidify some cash today, and hopefully making sure that they don't drop 2 goose eggs or something like that and not make it to the next stage. Can't foresee that happening, but when you got Triple S staring down their sights at you, you certainly need to be careful about some of these gunfights. And as per the usual, Hisoka is going to take every positional advantage he can get. High ground is going to be crucial. Really find a pick.
Oh, meanwhile, FaZe Scope able to grab a knock onto one of the members of TBE with that sniper. Skullface and Soka. Skullface is that anchor sniper for the Triple S squad here representing Las Vegas Legion. So if he can find some critical knocks, that will help. But something that's really interesting here, can we talk about Soka utilizing the night vision scope? We know thermals are banned in the Warzone ranked playlist, which is mirroring what our players are utilizing here today. But that night vision scope, if you're good with it, can just give you a little extra je ne sais quoi.
Sure, that's a great way to put it. Soka heard some footsteps, I think, down below and realized there's somebody else that he's trying to take down. Not just Ryda. There's a whole nother team here. There's 3 squads all in the same area. Make it 4. Unrational is the height here in the same position. This is one of those spots on the edge of zone that are all of our players are going to likely hang out on for a little while and slow their pace down, hold their position, and hopefully find some success with it. Ryda has showcased his efficiency close range and long range at this point. After some shots on Shifty, he's gonna need a pick though. Soka's in trouble. Man, everyone's staring down at SSS. These 3 are looking really good today, but if they go out early in this map, they could fall very significantly from Graces. They do not have a lot of eliminations right now.
Look, it's tough, right? When you are coming in as the favored team, as one of the best in competitive Warzone 2, what does that do for you, right? It puts a target on your back. Everyone wants to be the best, and in my opinion, it's really tough in the world of esports because you're only as good as your last tournament, right? Because everything has to be done so recency. It's that recency bias that we see a lot of. So Triple S here, they had that map 1 victory, wasn't good enough, and now we need to double down in these final 2 matches and rack up those eliminations. I did see Braxton, who's on the bubble in 29th place coming into map number 5, finding some luck in the kill feed, so hopefully they're doing the work they need.
IQ, Arrays, Ryda, all back alive again. Likely just bought back Arrays immediately. That's something you oftentimes see these top Warzone teams do. They always have the resources available to buy back quickly. They always try to be around a buy station. Talk about the fight for the buy stations often. Talk about the fight of our lives. Huskerrs, Unrational, Scummin fighting this squad. Empathy trait. This is a huge win if Brax can find it, Tiff. They need this in order to try to qualify for stage 2. They are on the bubble. Quite literally, I think 25th place currently, fighting first place. These are the 2 avenues for success today, but Unrational finds an angle from behind, will drop 1, looking for a second. There goes 2. Prospect, the 3rd, in trouble. Braxton rezzing. Scummin says, nope, not today, sir. You're not getting back up. See if they can find the 3rd. They will trade out Unrational, but still a team fight victory. The team at the top is not relenting.
That was the scariest thing I've ever seen. Scummin throwing down 2 claymores, isolating and securing his pathway, doubles back and completely catches Team Braxton off guard. Now Prospect still alive and well for the time being, but that is not going to last. And we know this is okay, right? This is a really tough position on the map to play. You've got water in your sight, but trying to get away from this POI, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, Prospect was, I think, trying to zone off Unrational's weapons when he realized that he was wiped, but you can't do that by yourself. Now, this is a not a must-win for Huskerrs, because you know his team's going to buy him back quickly. They would love to save their resources. If you just take a very quick glance at the money down at the bottom, they're running out of it. If they have to spend another $4 grand on buying him back. Now, this is a gulag that, in theory, Huskerrs should win. Skyro's a great player, but Huskerrs a top earner. Oh, I cursed it. I think it was a flag tap there from Skyro's that actually wins it. We're going to have to buy back Huskerrs.
Yo, if there's something against you in the gulag, it is that flag. It is insanely quick to cap, and I can tell you, I have lost a gulag so many times, and luckily my mouse still here, still moving strong, because it is infuriating. But cut on over to the outskirts. We've got people in the water. You've got Destroy on the left trying to go shark hunting, and Unrational and Scummin looking for the path of least resistance to be able to get their trio back up to form.
We can see these players nice and easily with the Codcaster. That is a tough shot from Scummin, shooting at people in the water from that far away. Very hard to see. Throws down some covering fire, and going to keep looting up and preparing for what's next. We would love to see that buyback on Huskerrs if they want to try to go back-to-back and win another map. Momentum on their side. Let's take a look at these teams that are still up. A couple notable ones. Mutex, Brolic, and Jesus. They've had a very tough tournament thus far. They would love a banger map. They haven't made it much past here currently in the entire tournament, so this is a huge one for them. Notably dead, Locksteel, De Niro, Juju, one of our top teams of the new guard that's inside of our top 10. They're unfortunately down already, so some solid squads on either side, and the question becomes, who's going to drop the biggest map of the day? Will it be that 64-point game, or is someone going to come out of the woodwork and drop a huge one in this map?
Oh, we're going shark hunting. I'm pretty sure Z-Smith has his FTAC Siege class for the water called Shark Hunt, because that pistol is so insanely good. And if we're getting a little bit of water and potentially an ending, that could make for a really interesting World Series of Warzone. But Triple S on your screen, shifting with 4 eliminations, going for the stealth move against Color City, pushes the issue.
See ya.
Just like that, deleted.
Yeah, there's really not much you can do about that. You're 3v1, Colors is hanging out in what looks to be almost like a porta potty, and that's just a free lick. Now, we're going to take that and move on. Triple S cannot stop hunting. They know they need a ton of eliminations in order to secure some victory. Here's where the window of opportunity has come into play. Where's TBE? They're dying in the kill feed currently. Scummin, last alive at the top of the leaderboard, is bush wookie'd up. This is an opportunity for some of our top teams to move on. Tommy in the gas, trying to stay alive. Noobs should fall here, and guess who's hunting him? DBZ. First time back on our screen for a moment, looking for some success, looking to wipe one of our top teams.
Yo, all I know is while this regain is going on, Scummin was inside the bush in the ghillie suit with the broadside out in his hands, lying in wait for anyone to make a rotation past that bush. And if that doesn't give you nightmares, I don't know what will.
Speaking of nightmares, it's a nightmare that somebody let Noobs get revived there. I mean, one grenade, that's all you need. Take care of it. Mutex probably trying to hold this high ground on the far side, but everyone's going to have to wrap in towards Mutex and Brolic. This could be a huge game for them to get them back onto the map and onto that leaderboard like we've been talking about. So keep an eye out for these picks from distance. I will say, Tommy and Noobs are pretty good about rotating in. Sniper cover should be able to help, but here's our little rat. Here's our top player on the squad currently. 10 points ahead of second. Last alive. Must stay up.
I mean,
yeah.
We can talk about the drops, right? Because the drops, isn't there a sticker that you get that's a rat? You've got the cheesy operator skin. And there's no surprise to why we're witnessing these as the drops, but apathy, Slack, they are going through it inside. Slack down on the ground is going to get rezzed with Symphony and the Echo at your back. This should be nice, but we have plenty of teams making their way in the water. Wag and OP marked. Biffle out in the distance, looking like Michael Phelps trying to cover the distance and get out. But this is gonna be so tough. As you see, we still have 22 squads left in the lobby. 10 seconds ago, we had 30.
I'm looking at Team 37 there down at the bottom of that mini-map. They're in a pretty solid position to cover and not have that many advances. That's 2 or 3 teams trying to rotate in. Low player count. That's IQ, O'Rays, and Ryda. They've got an opportunity to do something big here on the edge of zone. Who's 36, you might be asking? Dead center of zone. That's Team Classic Pain. Keep an eye out for that squad as well. But this is a breakout game for Jesus, Mutex, and Brolic. All individually skilled, working on a bit of chem. They're having to build up a brand new set of chemistry that they've never built together. This is a brand new team, never played together besides warm-ups for World Series of Warzone. They've needed a breakout game, and this possibly could be it. Look at Skullface out of the edge of town. Symphony trying to work his way back into the top 25. A lot of good teams up and a lot of good teams not currently qualifying for stage 2.
Ooh, IQ. This is very similar to what we have witnessed. Good drill charge to really zone it out, but Biffle already went down. You're just able to clean it up, but you are in one of the last buildings, and as you get furthermore shoved into the next zone, utilizing smokes are going to be your best friend. Eno going down right now, but the sandwich is happening. Skullface on the outskirts, rotating in just behind Symphony, Apathy, and Slack. They're going to get snuffed out because Arrays and IQ, they have to focus back, and since they rotated forward, they can kind of clean up, but look who's behind them.
Got Breadman sneaking around trying to grab a snipe, and one of our top teams, one of the few still alive. I believe TBE is out of it as well, but Aydan raided Adrian. They've got high ground, they've got edge of zone. Sabas and Mr. Daft are ratting out underneath these cliffs, and they're gonna catch the edge of this zone. Probably not the next unless they get incredibly lucky. This is gonna be a close one, and likely could see Symphony and co find a nice solid player advantage going into the final couple circles if they can win this outer edge of zone and not lose one. Slack trying, IQ in trouble, goes down. That's a full wipe. Slack, Apathy, Symphony coming online, and coming online at the right moment. No time to waste, but too many teams on the edge. Limax, Joewo looking for their bread as well. Breadman's gone, of course, but they're looking for the cash.
Yeah, we're into almost the 1.8x multiplier, which will throw dividends for our teams, but you have to stay alive, and they need to push forward just a little bit more because they're not quite in there. You can see Aydan, though. Look at his positioning where Adrian and Rated are, right? They split off. Aydan is going to go in and try to soak up as many eliminations as possible with Adrian and Rated having their back.
This is a big game for Aydan and Rated and Adrian. They were currently, I believe, situated in 3rd before this map. They have a sizable amount of eliminations. They would love a 2x multiplier here as well. Joe and Limax are hiding under the bridge. If they can get a good zone pull, they might win this against Aydan, Rated, and Adrian. It all comes down to the luck of the zone and how you play it. Mainframe, average, doing fantastic with 2. Couple people flying in behind some of those floaters. Got to keep an eye out for them. 4 squads left. Tiff, this is coming down to the wire.
Our floaters are making that early rotation play, and yes, Xenod average mainframe, they had highway, but once it comes to that next zone and keeps continuously pulling, as long as you can stay ahead of it, Joewo's been snuffed out. That's an end for that team. Though they've made it to the top 5, we're down to our final 2 squads, and with the player advantage, this should be an easy win for our team.
That's a win with 2? Tiff, think that's a win with 2. They were missing Voltrays in that whole game, and we're winning with 2. Positional advantage is everything, and a little bit of luck. That zone pull was clutch for that squad to take it over Aydan, Rated, and Adrian. I think Aydan and Rated still probably had the best scoring game on that map, Tiff. They had a ton of eliminations between the 3 of them. Likely going to see Aydan and Rated at the top of that leaderboard, but still, congratulations to the average squad.
I think you bring up a really good point.